Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, we're going to talk about other things going on in other places, and then this popped up. Thank you, Netsaya, for always being on the lookout at the USGS, and he caught this. This is identical to what we saw before. Magnitude 3.9 experimental explosion. 187 kilometers east-northeast of Flagler Beach, Florida. For the past hour, I would say, I've been feeling so off. Just you could call it your spidey senses going crazy. Just that feeling of anxiety, like there's something big in the air. And then we see this. There's a lot going on in the world, for sure. There's so much going on we're going to take a look at. But here we go. And I asked Cindy about this, asked the guides, what happened?
It's a repeat. You know, I don't want to use any wrong vocabulary words, but it's a repeat of them interrupting. When I tapped in, it's an interruption of something bigger that was trying to be done.
Yeah, so there's, as I said before, last time I tried to upload to EEARTS the title that included the words Galactic, right? FEDERATION. It wouldn't process the video. So I had to end up putting it on Evolutionary and breaking up that second word. This is because, this is another case where they did intervene. So the GF, and, I know some of you guys maybe are getting used to me saying GF now to talk about them. They intervened again because this is exactly the area that we have been told by people like Deborah at Stop the Crime, that this is one of the areas. The other place would be off of Cascadia, where they would basically launch an underwater explosion that would cause a massive tsunami that would hit the coast, and we wouldn't know exactly what it was. So, here you go. Thank you, our Pleiadian and other friends that are up there and are protecting us. And they did show me about 4 days ago, I saw a view from being in orbit around the Earth, what looked to me to be people on a ship blowing up what looked to be a whole bunch of satellites. And so that was actually the Fed, the G-Fed, taking out from 5D these technologies that are being used on people here and all the beings that are incarnate on the Earth right now in 4D. So they were able to, from 5D, get rid of some things in 4D. The battle is really raging all around us, guys. It really is. Not that victory is right at hand. We have a ways to go with this. So be very, very cautious if anybody is saying, hey, it's all over tomorrow, because we got a ways to go. But this is big. This is massive. And so again, something was diverted here. And of course, there'll be a cover story. And of course, they'll say, well, this was just another, testing of the hull to see if another ship's hull could handle, explosions of torpedoes or something.
And they're going to have their cheesy, stock photos of this is what it was.
Yeah, from things that happened years ago, testings. So interesting, guys. Here we go again. Something diverted is what we've gotten. And we are very, very thankful for those truly benevolent beings that are looking out for us. Now, I can't verify this photo, and we got it from a friend of ours. And what the caption is saying, I believe, is the U.S. Army has arrived here And this is in France. Now, looking at these vehicles, I don't see any markings on them.
Mm-mm.
And when we blow this up, these guys are all dressed in black. It does have a very, very ominous feel to it. And right now in France, it's a mess. There's a lot of protests going on. A lot of protests. But there's protests all across the globe right now. And for various reasons. Again, humanity is waking up to the fact that, hey, things just don't feel right. They certainly don't feel right.
Oh, I know. And thank goodness people are waking up too. It's our energy bodies, our light bodies are getting activated, which is absolutely wonderful because people start to question the norm. When they start to question the norm, they start searching for answers. And yes, it does take weeks, months, years to sift through all of this information that when you finally start asking, you start receiving information, and you have to sift through it. You have to use your discernment, and but we do. And after all of this time that we go through all this information, we come to the conclusion that, wow, things are not as they seem, and then we try to wake up others. But it's a very individual, very personal journey for everyone. Sorry, they don't want me talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and the scenes that we're seeing are so disconcerting. Here you see, people are still protesting, even though we over here are reading children as young as 12 among 153 arrested at one high school. Over like 700 were arrested. 12-year-olds being arrested, hands behind your head, kneeling down, and you put that together with those pictures of those tanks and other military vehicles. Gosh, it feels like we're back again, in the 1930s, 1940s,
Mm-hmm.
in NAZI, Romania, at a global level in many cases. Talk about just, ugh.
Yeah, it's really nauseating to look at that. I'm glad that it's not something even worse, though. I mean, we have pictures of live children, there, but
Right.
it could be worse.
Yeah, it's so disconcerting as we see, back on again over there in LA. There you go again. But there again, there's absolutely no surprise. No, we're not surprised at all. I mean, this is all stuff that we've seen coming. And just, you just know. See, that's a difference. There's a knowing that many people are getting now that you're not going to have to use your left brain to get. So, like a lot of times, have people that still reach out and tell me they're not extraterrestrials. They're all demons. And it's like, well, are they originally from Earth? No. Okay, so they're extraterrestrials. It's, again, we could go down that route. It's just because they want to keep something from a certain perspective. And just like we have this certain narrative that we're not allowed to diverge from, even when it's just not the correct reality.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing what we're seeing here, but yet absolutely not surprising at all. Because as we had said, people are waking up. And you're just going to know. You're going to be looking at people like this person in the photo there, and you're going to know, hey, I don't believe you. Just that simple. I know that you could say what you want to say and play along with the script as much as you want to play along with the script, but we just know it's a script.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you go to a theater, you're not going to think it's real. It's a play, it's an act, it's a script. It's not real. You know it. Just like people now getting in touch with their guides and learning to trust that inner voice. When you hear something that says, "No, I know you're planning to take a right here. Don't take a right here today." And so you go a little bit longer way home. And then maybe you find out there was an accident that happened that maybe you would have been involved in. That's, what's happening now is people are starting to listen to what they would take to be their intuition, which many times it is their higher selves or it's their guides.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we see Michigan Senate repeals emergency powers law, and Whitmer will be unable to veto it. It's the dividing line is getting clearer and clearer. And again, we have to think, do I want to be on this side of the line? Not that anywhere you go, there's going to be issues. As look at what we just saw with that experimental explosion off of this gentleman's state that he governs. DeSantis demands conservatives have a backbone. We can't have a cowardly people at this moment in history. Yeah, we're looking at history that I was going to say, will be written in the history books, but, since this whole age is going to be basically coming to an end, and we're going to be going into a totally new era, maybe it won't be in the history books, maybe we won't need history books. Everything you need could be right there.
Well, that's what I'm feeling. We can start learning how to tap into our ancestral DNA and start listening to that. It's like, people want to do energy work and they follow all kind of protocols, and there's a place for that, but also it's really important that we start tapping in now and we start listening to ourselves and listening to our ancestors and doing things the way they used to be.
Most definitely. And some things we're not going to really even go down talking about, but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, and it's all over the place here. Over in Iran, there's people protesting over water shortages. As we've seen so much WWs going on, and we know, that the ability to control the weather is right out there. I mean, China's come out there and said that they could control the weather. And there's declassified weather mod documents that actually go back to the 1890s. U.S. Air Force to send dozens of F-22 fighter jets to the Pacific amid tensions with China. And this is not typical. And there's more going on as well. They're shifting stuff. As we had said before, when we looked at the last USNI locations of fleets and stuff, there were things that were missing, things not being shown, and that's disconcerting because that means the likelihood for actual conflict starting is getting higher and higher. And I have shared with you guys that back in 2016, if I knew, and I got this message from the guides, that if the perceived election results were different, we would have lived this about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what's in process now would have been in process back then. I could feel it. There was an impending sense of dread and anxiety that was building. That was very palpable. So I knew if HRC was in there, so would WW3 be happening very, very shortly. Mm-hmm. And now, because again, it's all about consciousness and changes to DNA. We're waking up. And so we will soon be waking up. There's been a lot of, let me go back to talking about demons and extraterrestrials. Just because there are extraterrestrials doesn't mean there's not demons. Oh yeah, there most definitely are demonic entities. Had interactions with them all throughout life as they want to stop anybody that is a lightworker starseed from realizing their full potential. And again, that's a label. Many people, what we have gotten is almost 1/3 of the people on the planet are basically volunteers. They're here from other places and other densities trying to help the 2/3 that are actually having their only soul experiences being on the 3 and 4D here on Earth that tend to be a little bit more, naive in some ways, because they haven't been through it already. So for them, that's their first go around. Well, there's many, many people that are here simply to help other people. And so they know that. As I've said before, these powers that be that mostly operate in 4D, up as high as 5D in some situations, and can manifest in 3D, they know who you are before you're in the body and before you actually know who you are. So they know who you've been in other incarnations, and they target people, and they'll do the same sort of traumatic events, most often in youth, to take away your potential to change the system. And so here we see Pacific Air Forces in Hawaii this week said approximately 25 F-22 Raptors from Hawaii Air National Guard and from Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, Alaska, are deploying to Guam and Tinian Islands for Operation Pacific Iron 2021. We've never had this many Raptors deployed together in the Pacific Air Force's area of operations. There you go. This is different. I mean, they'll play it off like, oh, it's just another exercise. Well, there's exercises going on right now still everywhere. We look to the Black Sea. There's been such an increase, and it's all about consciousness, ultimately. And this catastrophe of historic proportions, at least 100 dead, 1,300 missing in these floods over in Germany. 1,300. This is huge. They've never seen anything like this. The rainfall amounts had about a 1% chance of occurring an individual year, making it a 100-year rainstorm. It's absolute devastation. No place is safe anymore is a true statement. And of course, they're blaming it on the climate crisis and everything. The typical stuff.
Yeah, it's just really strange how there's been too many voices speaking up saying we can control the weather and here's all these studies, and then then this stuff happens. It just makes for really eerie feelings.
Yeah, here we have cars washed away because monsoon season's here, but everything is on steroids. And this is in Flagstaff. This is definitely one of my favorite areas in Arizona. Love Flagstaff, love the area, it's beautiful. But yeah, you actually have a Toyota Prius that gets carried away down the street there in these monsoon rains. And we have a rare red warning for heavy rain issued for New Zealand's west coast. And it's a blessing to have so many people from New Zealand and Australia and every continent basically as part of this family that we could interact with and get firsthand information about what's really happening. That might not be around too much longer when you get down to it.
I know.
One of the things too that we need to prepare for, which we've been told, is again CME EMP power outage. What are we going to do? And how are we going to handle that when the grid's down, when communications are down? The hangover is here. Explosive inflation leads to record collapse in home and car purchases. Yeah, we are definitely going to a completely new level right now, and this is all stuff that we've been preaching for a very long time. Union Pacific halts shipments from West Coast to Chicago to ease significant congestion. So Union Pacific is temporarily suspending eastbound service from West Coast port terminals to its Global 4 intermodal facility in Chicago to help ease significant congestion at inland terminals, especially Chicago and at ports. Because there's a backlog is what they say. And when we looked at this and you see these, look at this is incredible. The cost as far as the shipping container rates going through the roof. We know inflation is here. It's going to be here to stay. It's just, is it going to be a Weimar Republic thing again? Are we going to be looking at a global Venezuelan situation? You remember what Venezuela looked like before when the rest of the world was more stable for the most part. And there was all those food shortages and just, people, killing random cows and trying to take home, a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible. So here, we'll soon know more about our bodies more than ever before. But are we ready? Now, this is all talking about, again, uh, mapping the genome, understanding the human body, but they miss the point that the body responds to the consciousness. It's all about the consciousness. And so, of course, they want to put that swing in there that's going to lead towards AI tech merger. Hey, heart disease in your family, high likelihood you'll probably die in your 50s or 60s from a heart attack or something like that. But don't worry, we got a new one made for you. It's just sitting there in that rat or in that pig. Or, it's basically we have a synthetic one that we could put in. And of course, we'll put in some NaNO tech as well. We don't need all that. What's happening organically is going to supersede the need for anything technologically. Not that there can't be a merger of the two. There could be if we had a different leadership on this planet. Just 7% of our DNA is unique to modern humans. Now, this is talking about the other ones that went before us, Neanderthal, the Denisovans. And, there's been so many different humanoid beings on this planet. And I love this line. The findings underscore that we're actually a very young species. Not that long ago, we shared the planet with other human lineages. Well, yeah, and non-terrestrial humans as well. Now, whether you view us as aliens, which you could, because the original inhabitants of this planet were, from what we've gotten, not really humanoid, but humanoid beings have come here over time or been brought here, both over time. And it's interesting to see that it doesn't take much to change and bring a whole new species around. The researchers also found that an even smaller fraction of our genome, just 1.5%, is both unique to our species and still shared among all people alive today. And, you can see the tinkering that's gone on with human DNA. Just again, look to the second chromosome and the splicing there. And then we could look to the Sumerian texts, which say that the gods created humans. And of course, these gods are not gods. These again, are overlords. Whether you want to call them demonic or you want to call them extraterrestrial or interdimensional or all three, it's fine. It's just a label.
Right. It is. It's a bunch of labels that get relabeled and put back on the shelf, but ultimately, we don't know our truth. I wish we did, but that's why we all have to tap in and start getting our truth and then putting the puzzle pieces back together.
Yes. And, Homo sapiens, as we know it, is probably not going to be here long term. It's going to be changed or gone from the 3D realm. So, again, you could go biblical and look to, I think it was 1 Corinthians. Lo, I will tell you a secret. We shall not all die, but we will all be changed. And then we could look to the flash that's coming and all the energies that's coming in now and in waves, day by day, changing our DNA. They know this. Now we've had cases that have been documented, people with 3 and 4 strand DNA heading towards 12 strand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I want to mention strongly is that there are so many different entities, especially traveling along the Wi-Fi superhighway, because it is a superhighway for entities. And, I've been keeping everything off. And yes, you can switch out your routers and just hardline in, but still, even if you're doing that, they could still come in and go through your computer, through your TV, through your smartphone,
Mm-hmm.
through all these different things. These entities use all our technology as a highway. So what we've gotten from the guides is every single night, unplug everything, cut all the power, and we've even seen reports that they could still travel through, but let's make it a little bit difficult for them.
Yeah.
Cut out all the power, to their super highway there, and sage. Saging, just basically lighting sage, going around the rooms, and you could call on the archangels, you could call on Yeshua, you could call on Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Calf Woman, whoever you want to call on to help you in this endeavor, or just call on your higher self, call on Source, Prime Creator. There's power in verbalizing. So when we verbalize something, we're sending waves of energy, sound, out into the room with an intention. So I would sage twice a day in these times, because again, the attacks on those that we would call lightworker starseeds are increasing exponentially. So sage, definitely. And we could also use different crystals. And I woke up with a guide telling me this morning carnelian, which I think a lot of us could use because it has energizing effects, blood purifier, because again, we need to detox every single day now. We are being overloaded with negative energies and with toxins of every sort. Whether it's in the shampoo you're using, look and see, are there any artificial dyes? Or look at the ingredients in your shampoo, because that's saturating and soaking into your body. Everything, everywhere we look, there's hidden toxins. That's why we've been trying to give you guys something that you can take with every video and run with it to help detox.
Well, yeah, and think about it. The skin is our biggest organ, and if whatever we put on the skin, it gets absorbed into your body, which your body has to then detox that too. So I mean, you're almost like same as eating it. So really, be very careful what you put on your skin.
Yeah, because it will soak on into the body again.
Mm-hmm.
So again, to recap, here we see this experimental explosion, exact same as previously, and you can see the timeline, 7/16/2021. We had one just a little while ago. Yeah. Now I don't remember the date. It almost feels like it was just about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you guys, some of you will know. Again, what we got from the Galactics, and hopefully that word didn't hurt anything, is that same thing as last time. This was a divine intervention. And we'll probably hear the same narrative as last time. Yeah. Just a sounding, a testing. Yeah. So thank you, Galactics. And thank you guys for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. Good to hear all the positive feedback again at Medicinal Foods, where you could get stuff that's going to really help you in detoxing and also help in energizing. And there's a link on every video there. Should be towards the very top. Anybody that needs to make an appointment, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. And check out our website, evolutionaryenergyarts.com. Stay prepared, guys. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.